Hi there, this is Coach International Master Roderick Nava. This time, we're going to continue analyzing the game from round number 10 in this ongoing US Chess Championship 2021, but this time in a women's division. I chose this game as I believe this is one of the remarkable game in the women's division. This is the game between International Master Nazi Paikidze and International Master Carissa Yip. At the end of this video, I will give you an update for the standing after round number 10. So let's get started. Paikidze played d4, Yip played g6. So this move belongs to many transpositional defenses like King's Indian, Grandfeld, Modern Defense, and also Pirc Defense. Then now Paikidze played e4, taking advantage to control over the center, and Bishop g7 was played. Knight c3 was played, then black turned with d6, knight f3, then a6. So this opening belongs to modern defense 2 knights variation. Then white played a4 here to prevent the blacks coming b5. Then black went knight d7, continuous development. Bishop c4 was played then with the idea of pressuring the f7 pawn and also to control more over the d5 square. Then immediately black played e6, blocking the potential sacrifice on f7 and also preparing to play knight e7 for development. Then white played bishop g5 here, maximizing the power of development and invites black to play f6. And instead of f6, then black simply played knight e7 to block the bishop g5. Then white played queen d2, preparing to play bishop h6 to challenge the fianchetto dark sword bishop. And black played immediately with h6, trying to neutralize the bishop. And she went back with bishop e3. Then b6, trying to develop the other bishop to b7. Then white went h3, simply to protect the g4. It's a prophylactic move. Bishop b7, and it looks funny to look at the black's position. So with the same patterns, same knight patterns, and also the bishop patterns. And this defense is popularized nowadays by the world's #1 YouTube streamer, Gotham Chess. He played this a couple of times when he feels that his opponent uses computer engine. I'm not joking, but it is according to him. Yeah, this is a very good defense against opponents with computer type of strength. Because strategically, the black is waiting for white's response, especially at the center. Like for example, if white would play d5, then black closes with e5. And if white would play e5, then black goes to d5. Yeah, that's the idea of hippo defense pattern formation. So now Paikidze played castle here. Then Yip played knight f6. She wants to improve her knight and also with tempo attack on e4. And now Paikidze decided to play d5 here and fell to Yip's idea with e5. Okay, to close the center. And now Paikidze played knight h2, planning to play f4 to break in the center. And Yip immediately responds with knight h5 to control over the f4 square, preparing for white's coming f4 breakthrough. At the same time, this move was the novelty of this game because it has been played before with g5, preparing to play knight g6, the same concept of stopping the white's coming f4, and the game went drawn in 2015. Alright, so I'll put the link in the description below for your reference. Okay, so let's go back on Yip's novelty with knight h5. Then Paikidze played rook fe1, preparing to control over the e file. Then Yip played g5 to control over the f4 square. Then Paikidze played g3 to stop the coming knight f4 possibility. But this move receives inaccuracy symbol. So in this position, according to a very strong computer engine, better was simply move bishop f1. Stay cool and waiting for blacks to jump on f4, and black would play a5 first and forcing black to play b5 to maintain the solidity of the queenside pawn structure, and white will play knight e2, preparing to play knight g3. Not to take on f4 immediately, but to play on g3 to control the important square on f5. Then sooner or later, after the white knight releases on g3, then white will play g3 to neutralize the knight. Yeah, so many good plans for white are coming. So let's go back to Paikidze that has done with g3, controlling the f4 square, and now he played knight g6. Receives double question mark. It means blunderacious. Yeah, at first sight, it looks very normal. But unfortunately, Paikidze played queen d1 here, just simply to threat the knight on h5 and forces black to move back with knight f6. But she missed the very strong move with queen e2 with the same idea of threatening the knight first on h5 and black forced to play knight f6 back, but with a very huge difference with white would play a5 here at this point. So like for example, if black would take the a5, then rook takes a5. Now the pawn on a6 sooner or later becomes in white's hand. And it follows with rook ea1, having battery along the a file, and sooner or later the pawn on a6 will fall. And another possibility, if black would play simply castle, then white would take on b6, c takes b6, and with the same scenario, black fall immediately with bishop takes a6. And the pawn on b6 becomes very weak, followed with queen b5, attacking, giving pressure on b6. Then sooner or later, the queenside pawns will be smashed. Okay, so that's the idea behind. And the last one could be b5. Yes. So it looks very solid in the queen side, but white has a deadly sacrifice move, bishop b5 check, then a takes b5, and white has queen b5 check, double attack. Like for example, queen d7, then white would take simply the bishop on b7, and the things becomes very simple for white. Okay, so let's go back. That is the huge difference between queen d1 versus queen e2. Okay, so let's go back. After knight g6 blunderacious, then queen d1, she played back with knight f6, then bishop f1. Okay, so trying to protect immediately the weak pawn on h3. Then bishop c8, transferring the control over the king side. Of course, the bishop on b7 has no longer effective over the diagonal b7 to h1 because of the solid d5 and e4. And now Paikidze played a5 and black turned b5, bishop g2, bishop d7, knight f1, queen c8, threatening to capture the h3 pawn. Then she went king h2. Then black played h5. She wanted to play h4. And as you can see, the pawn on g5 is hanging. But in spite of that, Paikidze surprise yip with move f4. Boom! Striking the center. But receives, it appears, blunderacious, baby. Double question mark indeed. What's the idea? So before we go through in this blunderacious move, in this position, better was knight a2 according to Stockfish. Knight a2 maybe with the idea of playing knight b4 then knight c6, or even rook c1 to break through with c4 and to create a strong pressure over the c file. Okay, so that's the idea behind knight a2. But let's go back with a surprise move f4 by Paikidze. Then Yip simply captured with g-pawn. G takes f4. E takes f4. Then another surprise move with e5. What a very hot move. e5 striking again the center. Maybe she realized that the king of Yip remains longer at the center. That's why she decided to play that. So e5. Then, in this position, the position becomes super complicated. Yip played knight g4. Excellent move. What a fantastic move. Then, white played h takes g4. H takes g4, discovered check. Forced to go back with king g1. Then Yip took simply the pawn on e5. But this move appeared with inaccuracy symbol. So, in this position, better was bishop takes e5. Black has more advantage at this point. So like for example, if White would play bishop d4, then Black simply play queen b7, preparing to castle queenside, and the other rook would play to g8, having a very strong h-file and g-file and strengthening the marching pass pawns. Alright, so those are the very good ideas. But let's go back to Yip's idea with d takes e5. Then Paikidze played bishop c5. Of course, to prevent the black king to castle and to stay the black king at the center. So that's the idea of bishop c5 behind. But based on the computer, better was knight e4. But Black will play f5 here as intermediate or in-between move. But still, there's no changes in the evaluation bar. So Black still have a decisive advantage. So let's go back to Paikidze, bishop c5. Then Black played queen d8, transferring to h4 and to create a very strong mating attack. And now Paikidze played knight e4. Yip played f5, attacking the knight. Then d6, trying to scramble the things there in this position. But Yip simply played c6. Bishop b6 was played. And now queen h4. What a very strong control over the h-file. And now Paikidze played bishop f2, trying to invite the black to play g3. But Yip played queen h5. Because if Black will play g3 here, then knight e takes g3, f takes g3, then bishop takes g3. Yes, indeed, Black has a huge advantage in this position, but psychologically in human eye, the black king stays at the center, so quite annoying for her. So that's why she chose to play queen h5 instead. And Paikidze played queen d3, offering her knight for sacrifice. Then Yip accepted that sacrifice. Bishop takes e4. Then Yip went back her knight to f8, trying to save her knight. But in this position, she really don't need to save the knight, but to castle queenside. White is not able to take the knight because of queen h1. Checkmate, matchas. Alright, so let's go back to knight f8. Then Paikidze played the last lifeline in this position, hoping for Black to capture the sacrifice bishop. Then White will go to g6, then winning the queen. Eventually, it is not forced, and Black played f3. With the idea of queen h1 check, king f2, queen g2 check, king e3, then bishop h6, matchas. Alright, so after f3, Paikidze captured the pawn, g takes f3, and the position has no changes anymore. The white king is in danger, and Paikidze decided to resign in this position. Congratulations to both players, especially to International Master Yip. And as you can see, in the updated standing after round number 10, I Am Yip deserves the elegant trophy and a huge amount of money because of her unstoppable score with 8 points. And even though she will lose at the last round, there will be no changes anymore. Her score is unreachable. So congratulations in advance to I Am Yip. I do believe that she will get the Grandmaster in the near future. Grandmaster title of men's division, I mean. Alright, so thank you very much once again for watching this video. If you haven't subscribed yet in this channel, please do subscribe to get more updates in my coming videos. Thank you very much once again. This is Coach International Master Roderick Nava. I'll see you next time, God willing.